I decided to make a part 2 of the assertiveness training card to give you a different perspective on what exactly it means for the future and what it means now. I gave you my impression that it's a good thing playing this card, and that a lot of institutions don't want this card to be played and want to keep us servile and domesticated. Basically we're cattle. We are cattle to the rich elite. That much is for certain. But there is a downside to this card. And that downside is that it turns us into a more bloodthirsty and aggressive civilization. I use the term civilized loosely. It's good for some people's ideology, but is it the greater good? That is a daunting question that you have to ask yourself in anything. Because the fact is, we're moving toward this hyper-conservative militia type society that is paranoid and thinks everyone is out to get them. Look at Doom Preppers. Look how popular that show is. And a few years ago, Glenn Beck was like one of the most popular news programs. He was able to start the Tea Party and get it off the ground and all his other shit, the 9/12 Project or whatever. The fact is, people like listening to him, and they like listening to that crap. That's why everyone hangs on Alex Jones' every word. People like doom porn. Some people for different reasons than other people. I myself am not scared of these things happening. I just would rather they happen because, well, I don't like people. People are assholes. But a lot of people are obsessed with this because in their minds, they actually think it's going to happen. And they think it's going to happen exactly the way they say it is. And it's all very convenient because there's too many poor people in the world. That's the perspective of the super rich. And they don't just want to outright bomb you. That would be too obvious. I mean, they could get away with it anyway. God knows you're just too fucking stupid and weak-willed to ever do anything about it. They could put a fucking gun to your head and blow your brains out. And nobody would give a shit. Nobody gives a shit now when people erode our freedoms. I keep telling you about why forum bans are just completely disgusting, and you don't seem to care. So, what makes you think that someone pointing a gun to your head and pulling the trigger and everybody's there to see your brains get splattered is going to make any difference whatsoever? It's not going to wake people up. Nothing is going to wake people up. The only thing that's going to happen is when shit gets bad, they're going to panic. And, they're going to kill each other and scratch each other's eyes out. And that would be perfect for them. And the elite are thinking that rather than make this public spectacle of killing their own citizens and then having to answer to the UN and shit, and it's all semantics, they would rather you consent to your own destruction. They would rather you beg for it and desire it. They turn you into the sick and twisted types that they are. That's how this game works. So, what I think will happen if the assertive training card is played to its extreme effect is that, we will become this more militant society, and if shit does happen, people will kill each other in the streets. Not so much because of selfishness or murderous tendencies, but because they've been conditioned to be that way. They've been conditioned to believe that everyone around them is an enemy and wants to rape them and take from them and murder them. And it perpetuates itself, because then that's what you're doing. You are taking from them and murdering them and raping them. So in kind, other people do that to you. And that's what happens. If you really wanted to prepare for a doomsday scenario, instead of building an underground bunker and training yourself to kill stranger dangers, why don't you make friends? Why don't you expand your social circle and, make as many friends as possible so that you don't need to be people's enemy and you don't need to shoot people, because you are a functioning society within a society. You are people that respect and admire each other. You value each other as human beings. You see each other's skills. You see that you're good people, and you look out for one another. And no shooting anybody was needed to be involved. But you're not going to do that. You know, you're never going to leave your house and just say hello to your neighbors. Just your neighborhood. You could form a commune right now between you and your neighborhood. You could all grow food, and you could all, you know, be nice and pal around and smoke cigarettes with each other and watch the football games or whatever. And you could have your commune right there, and you don't have to worry, because I sincerely doubt people outside of your neighborhood are going to travel a ways and be able to shoot you all up, unless they are a mob of people, and they have to be an organized mob of people. And what is the likelihood that their organized mob is going to come in, invade your neighborhood, and just slaughter everybody and take all your shit and move on? That just doesn't seem practical. So if you really wanted to prepare for doomsday, just be friends with your neighbors and get them involved, and, you know, build up some solar panels, pull all your money together and get shit organized and do it. But you won't, because that's too positive. That isn't evil enough for you, because you are a drug addict when it comes to evil. You've been partially by design, partially by your nature. And you know, it completely eludes you to do this shit. And that's what worries me. What worries me is that people will mass murder one another in kind for no other reason than that's all they know. There's no purpose behind it. It's just death and destruction. And I don't want that. I want you to die, no doubt about that. But I want you to die for the right reasons. Not just because you're a fucking barbarian. Not just because you're a mindless drone doing what you were raised to do. I want you to die because of your evil. I want you to die in spite of your evil, not because of it, not for it. I don't want you to die because you are evil and that is you're relishing in it, but because it is your punishment. That is your due reward. And you know, it's hard for other people to grasp that concept. And you know, it's beneficiary to the elite for us to think that way, where we have to shoot one another and be these militant survivalists that look at other people, other human beings, as just ravenous animals that we have to shoot down before they get to us. And you know, while we're killing one another, they're hiding in their bunkers and shit, just waiting for the Goyim to kill one another off, and then they come to the surface and rebuild society, and whoever's left ends up being the slave workers yet again. More of the same. Things don't change, you know, and it's like that one Illuminati card. Just because everything's different doesn't mean anything's changed. That's exactly how I feel, because I know what would most likely happen. And as much as you might think all the chaos and all the fires and all the death will mean anything, it won't. It's just more of the fucking same, because you're evil, so you're not going to get anything else out of it. It's insanity to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So that's my part 2 to assertiveness training and the negative aspect of it. The positive aspect of it is most certainly a lot of people deserve to get shot. But the negative aspect is it might be to the benefit of some of the most evilest people on the planet, that we're too busy killing one another and training to fight one another instead of, you know, trying to actually make the world a better place. So, you know, that's something to think about. I'm not going to tell you which side to take. I personally don't know which side I'm really on. I just give you my observations. I just give you my speculation, and I contemplate it, and I develop my own spiritual and political beliefs based on those contemplations, and I want you to come along for the ride and make your own decisions and your own thoughts. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to convert you. I don't fucking want your support or your worship. You know, you don't come to me for the truth. I'm not here to get you out of the matrix. I'm just giving it to you flat out, straight up. And, you know, if you are my moral enemy, I will say so, and I will have no moral qualms about taking you down. But, and that's a big but, You know, it's not that simple. Life is not that simple. There are many variables to consider, and some of the people you think is your enemy might turn out to be a very beneficiary ally, and some of the people that are your best friends might turn out to be some of your most despicable opponents. You don't know. There's many things to consider if you truly care about good and evil, if you truly care about right versus wrong. So, that's my part 2 for